Who do you think the most conservative justice on the Supreme Court is? Well, a new report has just come out and it names Justice Samuel Alito as the most conservative member. He narrowly overtook Justice Clarence Thomas as the Supreme Court's most conservative member this term. All right, a report in Axios lays out an analysis by two political scientists, Andrew Martin and Kevin Quinn, in what are apparently known as the Martin-Quinn scores, where the judges are placed on an ideological spectrum. So on this spectrum, a lower score means that the justice is more liberal, and a higher score indicates that the justice is more conservative. So let's get on with the scores. Coming in as the most liberal justice on the Supreme Court this term, Sonia Sotomayor. She gets a negative 4.09 rating. Next up, Elena Kagan, coming in at minus 2.067, less than half of Sonia Sotomayor. Here's the shocker for you. The latest judge, the one that Biden picked, Ketanji Brown Jackson, she is considered the least liberal on the court among the three liberals. She comes in at a negative 1.704, significantly lower than both Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan. Here's where it gets interesting. We move on to the quote-unquote conservative side. Chief Justice John Roberts, the least conservative, not that big of a shock, but he comes in at 0.42. The next up, this was a little bit of a shocker to me, Brett Kavanaugh coming in at 0.446, barely edging out the Chief Justice John Roberts as the second least conservative on the court. The number 3 goes to Amy Coney Barrett at 0.821. Next up on the list, finally crossing into a single digit, Neil Gorsuch at 1.077. Then here's where it gets interesting. The former number 1 conservative on the court, Clarence Thomas, comes in at 2.358. He was edged out, as I said, by the most conservative justice, Samuel Alito. He comes in at 2.568. That is a big spread on the court, but it's also a big spread among the conservative justices. So let me share with you what I think are the big takeaways from these scores. First, I can't believe that among the 3 liberal justices, it's Ketanji Brown Jackson that's the least liberal. I mean, if you read that opinion that she wrote in the affirmative action case, it's unbelievable. It shows her true colors. I have no doubt in my mind, none whatsoever, when they do these scores next year, she will leapfrog into that most liberal slot. Next, I knew the Chief Justice wasn't a rock-solid conservative, but that rating, 0.42, wow. I mean, it's amazing the difference between him and Alito. What a delta there is between those two. And it's just unbelievable that there's not that much of a difference between him and Ketanji Brown Jackson, is there? It's amazing. He's closer to her than he is to Alito. That says a lot about where the Chief Justice is. And the idea that Kavanaugh is barely ahead of him is shocking. Remember his confirmation hearings? This guy was going to be the most horrible thing to happen, according to the liberals. And yet here he is, barely edging out the Chief Justice John Roberts to become the number 2 least conservative on the court. But I think the real takeaway is that Thomas and Alito are in a league of their own. They are truly the conservative rocks of this court. They are the ones, when we appoint future judges, that we should be looking at. Those are real solid conservatives. But let me ask you, what do you think of the scores? Do you agree that Alito is the most conservative? Let me know below. Well, if you enjoyed this video, click the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to make sure that you never miss another video.